Alright friends, so we are in the rabbit colony, obviously. Today we are doing something that I did not think I would ever do. We are introducing a buck into our rabbit colony. Hey bud. Can you come get in the bucket for me? Oh, my Jackson. Alright, bud. I'll sit you over here. You come out when you're ready. So Jackson is slowly exploring. Nosy Rosie is hiding back there in that corner, and then I think the other two are in the black pipe. It's okay, bud. I know, new place, new scary place. I don't know if he hasn't noticed the rabbits over there or if he's ignoring them while he just looks around, but Nosy Rosie has definitely noticed him. Okay, first encounter. So Jackson has entered the rabbit colony. Jackson is our red-eye white Tamook rabbit. He is a buck, obviously. He is one of our breeding bucks. He doesn't know what to think right now. There he is. Right there. Figuring out a tunnel. We do have 3 does currently in our colony. Lessa, you maybe can kind of see back there, she's kind of blends in. She is a gold tip steal, so she looks black on camera. We have a red-eye white doe named Ruth, and then we have a caster which looks brown rabbit named Nosy Rosie. Oh. Les and Jackson are checking each other out. Gentle. Okay, so some chase is okay as long as he is not acting aggressive. He's not growling, he's not biting, and they're not doing that to him. He could just be chasing them because he wants to breed, and that's normal. You know, he's now in an all-doe colony. He wants to get his thing on. But I am sitting in here to monitor the situation and make sure everything goes smoothly. So when you're introducing a new rabbit to your rabbit colony, you kind of want to do it in stages. Jackson is not new to the does. His rabbit tractor is sitting right out here so they could kind of get each other's smell. He's been around them. I've had different ones of them in his tractor with him for attempted breeding. So he's not 100% like stranger to them. Additionally, you want to monitor the situation. You want to know that everybody is safe. You're caring for these rabbits. You need to care for them. So that's why I'm sitting in here with them until I am confident everything is okay. I will be in here with them. And then you want to make sure you have enough places for them to all hide to get away from each other and to break their line of sight from each other. So we have 4 individual nest boxes with tunnels that any of them can go into. This big long black tunnel in the back as well as a hiding place for them. And then I additionally brought in this black 5-gallon bucket. It acts as a makeshift burrow. Because the does have used that black tunnel back there and these 4 nest boxes, this is kind of their territory. So I needed a place for Jackson to be able to hide that wasn't theirs. So they hadn't already marked as theirs. So that's what the black bucket is. It gives him a safe place where he could get in there if he needs to get away from them. And it's not something they've already claimed. So having a lot of hides, a lot of ways to break their sight, and places that aren't already claimed by the does is a great way to do that. Now you can do this with another doe as well. Obviously you're not going to like interact with them, you know, try to attempt to breed them before you put them in a colony together. But I would like have your doe close by, let them get the scent of each other before you introduce her. And then make sure you have plenty of hiding spots, lines of sight breaks, an additional one that is just for her that she can get into safety. And then you, of course, sit in there and monitor the situation. Does are more territorial than bucks, so they're the main ones you need to worry about. He is just trying to breed with them. They're a little bit defensive, which I will take them being defensive instead of them, you know, offensive and just trying to attack him. Nosy Rosie is hiding right there, up front. Lessa and Ruth are cuddled up back there in that corner. And then Jackson is exploring. So other than a few quick interactions, they really haven't had any major interactions with each other. He's just hopping around exploring, and for the most part, they're hiding from him. Which I guess is one of the best ways it could go. I never thought we would put a buck in our colony, to be honest. It's not anything I'd ever set out to plan. It was an all-doe colony. I wanted my bucks separate so I could control breeding a little better, and I could control my genetics that are coming into the situation and how many litters I have and things like that. But at the moment, we only have one breeding buck. We had to put Cadbury down. In other words, we culled him is the proper way to say it. Just because he was looking very sickly. He'd been losing a little weight. I'm not sure he had any kind of contagious issues or whatever, but RHDV2, I think is the appropriate acronym, has now found its way into South Carolina, and at this point we cannot run any risk with having sick rabbits in our rabbitry, because if one rabbit gets that, they all will most likely get it, and it has at minimum a 70% death rate. Sounds scary, right? You're not going to be able to stop it. It's spread through wild rabbits. It's spread by mosquitoes. Anything that's soiled with rabbit stool or dropping things like that, it's going to spread it. If somebody else has a rabbitry and they come onto your property, they can bring it with them. I don't know any rabbit owners who would willingly spread it, but not everybody knows. So, especially for right now, nobody's allowed into our rabbitry but us. We're not bringing in any new rabbits, so we put Cadbury down, but I'm not bringing in a new buck rabbit anytime soon. So for that reason, might as well just go ahead and throw Jackson into the colony and have as many litters as he wants to give us right now. Jackson went in the black tunnel. Can you see his head poking out there?
Got him. He's going in the black tunnel. He's going in the black tunnel, Mom.
Mm-hmm. He did go in the black tunnel.
I got him food to eat.
Hey, buddy.
Okay.
So the abbreviation for the virus, I think I've been saying it wrong, is RHDV2. Rabbit Hemorrhagic Disease Virus 2. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So this rabbit hemorrhagic disease is not a new thing. If you have never heard of it before, I just want you to know it's not something that's just recently happened. It first tested positive in 1984 in China. And it has slowly been spreading around the globe. It hit the United States, in the western United States, out by California. And it has very, very, very slowly been making its way across. And it now has reached the East Coast. The problem with this rabbit hemorrhagic disease, it is extremely deadly. Extremely deadly. 70% of rabbits who come in contact with it will die. It's that deadly. There is a vaccine for it if you have pet rabbits and you're worried about that. Like, you can get your pet rabbits vaccinated. I don't know if they have it in the East Coast yet, but I know a lot of West Coast rabbits have been vaccinated for pets. Some meat rabbitries will vaccinate their breeders. We don't vaccinate our meat animals if we can help it. I just don't want that in my meat animals. So at this point, we're choosing not to vaccinate our meat rabbits. Depending on how hard it hits us, we may change that eventually. But our goal is to always breed for resistance and promote health in our rabbits, boost their immune system as best as we can, and then help them to fight off the natural diseases so that they have the antibodies to defend against it, and they can pass those on to their offspring. So I do fully expect that one day we will have RHDV2 here on our property and in our rabbitry. It's going to be devastating when it happens, but any rabbits that we can get to survive that virus will carry natural antibodies to protect other rabbits against that virus as we keep breeding them, and we will breed for rabbits that are resistant to that virus, because that's the only way we're going to be able to continue having rabbits. So many rabbits have been wiped out by this virus. It is absolutely ridiculous the amount of numbers that have been lost to this virus. Like, it is a rabbit pandemic, and it has been going on for many, many years, and just wiping out rabbits all around the globe. It's crazy. Woo! You okay, Lissa? Really? So this rabbit hemorrhagic disease is not anything new. Version 1 was pretty bad. Version 2 is even worse, and version 2 is what is now tested positive in the state of South Carolina. So I'm going to read off a list of symptoms that you can find on rabbit.org. What is rabbit hemorrhagic disease? I will link it down below so you can read some more about it. But it says symptoms of RHD in domesticated rabbits include but are not limited to inappetence or loss of appetite, lethargy, lack of energy, fever of 104 or higher, seizure, weakness, wobbliness, other neurological signs, jaundice, yellowing of the skin and mucous membranes, most noticeably in the ear, bleeding from nose, mouth, genitals, or rectum, difficulty breathing, and sudden death. RHD kills quickly, giving little warning. Rabbits often die without showing any symptoms. Any sudden death, especially in an otherwise healthy rabbit, is suspicious and should be reported to your veterinarian as soon as possible. So Cadbury, his symptoms were a loss of appetite, lethargy, just losing weight because he wasn't wanting to eat so much. Now, we have a mix that I tend to do anytime our rabbits are kind of showing a little off on their appetite or need a little extra calorie boost, like when they've had kits or something like that. And it is 1 tablespoon of a seed, like a pumpkin seed or sunflower seed, and then 1 tablespoon of either a grass seed. I was using ryegrass seed with Cadbury because that's what we're currently spreading in our yard, or oats. And that just kind of gives them like a big boost of calories and a very compact form of eating it. So I was giving him that. He would eat that, and he started eating again after I was giving him that, but he just never got back to where he was. And then he really, really got lethargic. So it was in our best interest for our rabbitry and things going on to just go ahead and cull him just to protect the rest of the rabbits we have here on our homestead. So if you only have one breeding buck, why are we keeping him separate from the doe colony? Might as well put them together. Saves me a little bit of work and trying to track breeding and everything else. So, now we're introducing a buck to our doe colony. It's not going too bad, actually. I really thought they would have more battles, you know. Nope. So far, we're doing okay. So, if you are now concerned about RHDV2 in your area, what can you do to prevent it, and what can we do to prevent it? Well, not a whole lot. I mean, that's the truth. Not a whole lot. It will eventually make it to you regardless. You can try to slow it down by not bringing in any new rabbits that you're concerned about, you know, unless you like have them verified by a vet or you know somebody who does. If you do bring in a rabbit, quarantine them away from your rabbits in a situation that can be very deeply cleaned, because you have to use like 10% bleach to kill it. So for our quarantine process, I use actually one of those metal dog crates that has the plastic slide-in panels, you know, to catch stool and stuff, because I can quarantine them in there for 30 days. I can control where their poop and pee gets dumped at, and then I can sanitize that entire thing very, very deeply. So that's what I use for our quarantine process. It's worked really well for us. And if I was to bring a new rabbit onto our homestead, that is what I would use. Quarantine for 30 days, make sure they have no symptoms or anything before I ever put them in like a rabbit tractor or something where I could risk contaminating our property or risk contaminating our rabbits. However, RHDV2 can be spread by mosquitoes. So even keeping him quarantined, we would still run the risk of, if he was infected, a mosquito biting him and then biting our rabbit. So if we do bring in a new buck, it will be when it is very cold out and there is no mosquito population, just to help kind of keep our rabbits even safer. So we're not going to stop using our rabbit tractors. I don't want y'all to get the impression of that. But I'm just not keeping the buck separate in our rabbit tractor because there's no point if he's going to be the sole one breeding our rabbits. The only reason he was separate was so I could control our 2 bucks and who bred with what rabbit, and I could document that. But if he's our only buck, then I obviously know he's the one that's breeding those rabbits. So there just wasn't no point in doing that. All of our grow outs at 8 weeks old leave the colony and go to rabbit tractors anyways, and that process will continue. We're not changing that at all. So rabbit hemorrhagic virus, whatever you want to call it, can be spread from wild rabbits to your domesticated rabbits, unfortunately, and that's how a lot of it is spread. But we feed an all forage homegrown diet. And so even if I stop tractoring our rabbits, there is always the possibility that a wild rabbit urinated or something on a plant that I am picking. And when I feed that to my other rabbits, they're still coming in contact with that plant and that ground and could still become infected that way. So unless I completely change all of our values on our rabbitry and go back to feeding commercialized pellets and stuff like that, I mean, there's no way I'm going to get away from the full risk of the virus. There's not a whole lot we could do. If you want to best protect your rabbitry and you don't have the same values for your rabbitry that we do, because we're all different, we all have different things that we value and different things we're striving for in our rabbitry, and that is okay. That's what makes us individuals. But for us, we want all of our rabbits on the ground. We feed them an all-natural foraged homegrown diet. You know, we try to boost their immunity and breed for resistance and remain as natural as possible in a controlled setting. Not everybody wants to do it that way, and that's cool. So if you're not wanting to do it the same way we are, the best way you can protect your rabbitry is to cage your rabbits. You can do large colony style cages if you want to do that, or smaller individual cages. Get them up off the ground so they have less contact with wild rabbits. Feed them only like commercialized pellets that have been through a sterilization process. I don't know that I would even buy commercial hay because you still don't know how it's interacted with wild rabbits. But with most commercialized pellets, you don't necessarily need a hay option because that hay is built in if it's a complete pellet. You will need some form of wood or something for your rabbit to chew on because pellets do not offer enough chewing force for them to wear down their teeth, and they will start chewing on their cage wires or whatever else you got. So you're still going to need something for them to chew on, and you would have to buy like a pet chew toy for like your rabbits. Like they come out with pet rabbit chew toys. They're like solid wood. It's been kiln dried and everything, so you know there's no like diseases in it. That could be an option. And then you would really restrict anybody coming in, you know, use gloves or whatever when you're interacting with your rabbits, or only wear a certain jacket, or only wear a certain kind of shoes or something when you're messing with your rabbits. Just prevent as much of the spread as you can. But like I said, if a mosquito goes from one rabbitry or one wild rabbit that has the virus and goes to your rabbit, you're still going to spread it that way, and that's not something you can control, unfortunately. There's only so much you can do, though. But those are your options. Those are ways you can prevent it. And then, of course, there is a vaccine out. You could look into getting it. It is effective. It's worth a shot if you want to go that route. If they're pet rabbits or something, absolutely go that route. It's just whatever you want to do for your rabbits. This is one of the best options we currently have in place. When I bring in a new breeding buck, eventually, probably this winter, Jackson will go back out into a rabbit tractor, and we will then take better control of our breeding again. So this isn't a permanent solution. It's just an easy solution to get by for now. What is it, buddy? What do you think of your new digs? The girls being nice to you? Jackson has finally laid down over there in the corner, just kind of relaxing, chilling in the shady area over there. The sun is kind of streaming in here, but that part he's in is shaded at the moment. The girls are over here just chilling out, eating some food, not paying him too much mind. I have pretty high hopes that this is going to go off very well because nobody seemed very aggressive. He's tried to chase them a few times, and they've chased him a few times, and that was about the extent of it. There's going to be some pecking order issues as he asserts his dominance over the group, just like a rooster would with his chickens or with his hens. It's just the same thing. They've just got to work it out amongst them. But so far, we're not seeing any aggressive issues. No really extreme territorial issues. So I think I'm good to leave them as is. I will keep an ear out, come out here frequently, check on them, make sure nobody has any issues. I've got the rabbit tractor right outside just in case anything happens. I can quickly move him back over if I need to. But I don't think the girls are going to have a problem with having a new roommate for a bit, and hopefully we will get lots of kits out of the deal. That's all I have for you today, friends. So, until next time, I will see you later.
Look what's up.